On July 20, 1969, Neil Armstrong landed at the moon. Most of us are aware of this fact. But did this happen all of a sudden? No, definitely not. It took years of thinking. It took a number of people to think creatively, innovatively, in a way that this feat was completely possible, which was a miracle in the human history. So one of the main key players to achieve this surprise stupendous feat was JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, a subsidiary of NASA. It was founded in the year 1936, not in the same name as JPL, but some other name. And scientists at this period of time who were part of this association, they were all innovating and reinventing rockets for the military purposes. And those scientists were born during the World War and also during the period of economic depression. So they did not have a privilege to play with expensive gadgets or the smartphones or something what we are doing at this moment of time, which they were not even had the privilege of doing it. So they all played with real toys, experimented with machines, completely tearing it up, putting back again. A lot of practical knowledge they had, a lot amount of knowledge. So in 1969, Neil Armstrong was landed on the moon. And in around 1990, the scientists who were part of JPL and around the year 1936, so were about to retire because they were all senior scientists. It was time they have to go back home. And obviously, JPL needed a fresh set of engineers, new minds, ignitive minds to think over and to bring back new technologies, new thinking in place. So these senior scientists went to all the prestigious universities around the world, be it MIT, or you name any of the universities around the world. And they went and hired the engineers who were all gold medalists, who were the topper in the universities. They were all being interviewed and brought back to JPL. It was around 1 month. There were no such innovations happening. So they patiently waited 2 months, 3 months. None of that happened. They found out they were all the stupidest of the batches anytime they've got around. They did not know how to find solutions for all the complex projects which they have in place. And they wondered what happened because we chose from the topmost universities, the gold medalists, and the most creative minds. How come it was failing? How come we couldn't proceed with another set of work? And so that was the time psychologist Nate Jones had an acquaintance with this kind of an issue because he was also running a machine shop where he had a set of engineers who were designing and working with racing cars and tires. And he was also facing the same issue during that period of time, around 1990. And he really wondered, it's a kind of similar kind of problem between JPL and the work he was doing. So he interviewed the ones who were there in JPL at that moment of time and his office colleagues and employees at that moment. One thing he found out was that, as I said earlier, the senior scientists who were born during the period of World War and economic depression time, they did not have much privilege to play with the exotic gadgets and all that. So they had to play with real things, climbing a tree, playing with sand, maybe taking out a machine and doing with things, running around, all sorts of play. But the ones who they hired at this moment of time, they all had great theoretical knowledge. Everything they knew the answer, but they did not know how to apply a practical approach. And that's why they failed miserably. And this is a known fact. This is not a fake story or this is not something which was made up. So often there were parents who were coming back to me and saying that tomorrow there is exam, so they will not be attending this class. So tomorrow they have exam, so I don't want them to focus on badminton or tennis at this moment of time. Let them go and study. And I wonder, hardly they would spend around 2 hours sometimes for public speaking to learn with us. and also to any other class which enhances their knowledge. So, which implies after reading through this, after listening through this anecdote, what it means is it's not the academic scores, it's not the marks, it's not what is the 89%, 90%, or the 100% which you have in place does not take you to the top. But do you have the right competence? Does the children have the right skill? Or do they have ability to just forefront the world? Do they have enough confidence? Do they have enough skills to face the world, to face the humans, to make the relationship better, to be a leader? And that's what it counts a lot. So allow them to play, allow them to think, and don't quit the classes which makes them skill competent, rather than saying tomorrow there is exam and I don't want to attend this session. Academics is very important, I understand, but at the same time, the rest of the skills which are required to face the world is not being taught in school, which is very essential for every child to be a leader in life. And as parents, think about that. Thank you.